and welcome to this video. In this tutorial, we'll dive into the concept of variables in Python. So variables are the building blocks of any computer program, and they are a fundamental syntax of most programming languages. The ability to use them efficiently will help you write codes that are readable and reusable. So by the end of this video, you will understand what variables are, how to use them, and some of the best practices that will make your program more efficient. So, what is a variable? Variables are like containers that we use to hold value or data. In computer programming, what we do mostly is about moving data around and manipulating them. So, variables are like containers that help us to hold those values that we use. You can think of it like water inside a bottle. The water is the value, the bottle is the variable. So let's go ahead and see some examples of variables in Python. So take for instance, I want to say print hello John, right? So John is a name. Now when we go ahead and print it, we get John, hello John. But this name John is not reusable, and this is why we need variables. So imagine I have to use the name John in multiple places. There's probably a chance that I will misspell the name John, right? So to avoid such thing from happening, I will give John to a variable called username. So now, after giving it to username, I'll just go ahead and say hello username. So now when we print it, we get hello John. So rather than using the value itself, we put it in a variable, and now we can carry the variable anywhere we want to. So there are other types of variables we can create. I could also say pi equals 3.142, or we could also say a student, and now we'll give this a boolean value, a student. Yeah, I'm a student, so the value will be true. We could also create for a number. We'll say price is 125, right? These are all examples of variable. And now when we go ahead and print them, we get their values. So I'll do pi is student and price. So when we run our program, we expect all four outputs in the terminal. So when we name variables, there are some rules we need to follow. The variables can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. In fact, when creating variables, there are 3 naming conventions we use. So the first naming convention we use is called Pascal case. So Pascal case, when you are writing a variable name that follows the convention of Pascal case, every word in the variable name starts with an uppercase. So take for instance, first name. So first is a word, name is a word, and each letter in the name will start with an uppercase. So I'll do first name. First name equals Sam. Now the second naming convention we can use is camel case. And camel case happens to be the most popular naming convention people use. So to write the same variable name, I'll say first name. So in camel case, The first word starts with a lowercase letter, and every word after it starts with an uppercase. So down. So the variable name starts with a lowercase letter, and every word after the first word starts with an uppercase. So the third naming convention, which is what I use, is called snake case. Oh, sorry. It's called snake case. Now in snake case, every word starts with a lowercase, but you separate each word with an underscore. So first name equals Paul. So these are the three naming conventions we use in computer programming. Now you can choose one of these naming conventions and stick with it. Make sure your program is consistent. And when it comes to naming variables, like I mentioned earlier, the names of the variables can contain letters, numbers, and underscore, as we've seen. Now, the variable names must start with a letter or underscore. Variable names cannot start with a number. Take for instance, when I can do something like this and say age 1 equals 100, but it will be wrong for me to say 1 age or 2 age. No, this is wrong. So make sure every variable name starts with a letter or an underscore. I could also do something like this and say underscore 2 underscore age. This works, right? So this works. Make sure every variable name starts with either a letter or an underscore. Now, another thing you must remember is that variable names in Python are case sensitive. So if we have age equals 100, this age is different from this age. Okay, these are two different variables, although they hold the same value, but the variable names are different. So there are so many things we can do with variables in Python. We can also do what we call reassignment of variables. So let me go ahead and remove all this. Now we have price as 125, right? And when we print it, we get 125. Now I will also go ahead and reassign price to be equals to something else. So now I'll say 500. Now what does this mean? It means take the value that price is holding and change it to 500. And now when we print price, we get 500. So price was initially 125 and now price is 500. There are also many other things we can do with variables. So say we want to do something like this. Let me say x equals 3 and y equals 2. So we could do something like this and say print x plus y. And when we print x plus y, we get 5. And you can even go ahead and assign the result of that to another variable. So we say z equals x plus y. So instead of printing x plus y, we can simply go ahead and print z. And we still get 5. And like I said, we can reassign the values. So I'll come here and say x equals 20. I will say y. So y equals 5. So when we come down here, we say z should be equals x plus, or x, let's multiply it, x multiply by y. So when we go ahead and print z, we get whatever the product is. So we get 100, right? So some of the things you must remember when using variables is use names that are descriptive and follow the Python naming convention. Remember that variable names in Python are case sensitive, which, like I said earlier, any word that starts with lowercase, take for instance age. This age is different from this age. Okay, so these two, even though they are called age, they are different. They are not exactly the same thing. So make sure you follow these rules to be able to write programs that other people can see and understand. So that's all for this tutorial on Python variables. You now know how to create variables and use different values with them. And in the next tutorial, we will understand how to work with different data types and how to manipulate them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.